Welcome back to the On the Road Sports Talk Show, sponsored today by Fantasy Impact on Twitter at fantasy__impact. Over there, they bring you breaking fantasy news as well as advice in a relaxed and encouraging fantasy sports community. Hello, I'm your host, Landon Rhodes, bringing you a fresh episode of NFL Fantasy Standouts and Disappointments from Week 10. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting at the top of our standouts, it's Bears quarterback Justin Fields, who has now put together multiple fantastic fantasy outputs over the last few weeks. Versus the Lions this past Sunday, Fields was 12 of 20, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception through the air, but he was his usual self on the ground as well, with 13 rushes for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. That added to a Fanduel score of 40.38 Fanduel points, 4.9x value. Big things from Justin Fields over the last few weeks. Coming in at number 2 on our standouts list, it's Packers wide receiver Christian Watson. He has had well-documented drops both earlier in the year as well as early in yesterday's game, but credit to the rookie as he overcame the early drops to make massive plays for the Packers in their comeback overtime win over Dallas in Lambeau. Watson finished with 4 receptions for 107 yards and 3 touchdowns. That totaled up to 30.7 Fanduel points. That is 5.7 times value. Watson is also available in many fantasy leagues right now and will undoubtedly be a very popular ad this coming week. So I'd get on your waivers right now and go add Christian Watson. Our third and final fantasy standout for this week is Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Christian Kirk. This game script versus the Chiefs favored the Jags passing attack as the Jaguars never led in this game. They had to throw all game. This contributed to a fairly quiet game from running back Travis Etienne, but great games from Jags wide receivers Kirk and Zay Jones. Kirk ended the day with 9 catches for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns for a Fanduel score of 27 on the dot. That's 4x value. That's going to wrap up our standout portion of the show. Now let's take a look at 3 guys who you hopefully avoided playing this week. Starting off our disappointments list is Browns wide receiver Amari Cooper, who only caught 3 passes for 32 yards, scoring 4.7 Fanduel points, 0.6 times value. The interesting thing here about Cooper is that he was only targeted 3 times, but he caught all 3 in a game when the Browns trailed for a lot of. They were playing catch-up, certainly not what we would expect from a wide receiver 1 playing catch-up, but perhaps the upcoming change at quarterback for the Browns will help Cooper out. At number 2 on our disappointments list, we have Saints running back Alvin Kamara, who lost to the Steelers in a low-scoring defensive battle on Sunday. Kamara rushed the ball 8 times for 26 yards, adding to a pitiful Fanduel score of 6. That is 0.9x value. It's very hard to predict what we will see from the Saints offense on a week-to-week basis, so roster Kamara with caution moving forward. Our final disappointment, it's going to be Packers wide receiver Allen Lazard. Unfortunately for Lazard, the aforementioned Christian Watson career game came at Lazard's expense as he did not see his usual usage, with Watson taking over and becoming Aaron Rodgers' go-to guy versus Dallas. Lazard ended with 3 receptions for 45 yards. That's 6 Fanduel points, 0.9x value. I don't believe this will become a trend as Lazard is still the clear-cut wide receiver 1 in Green Bay, despite Watson's huge game. That'll do it for this episode of Fantasy Standouts and Disappointments. I'm your host, Landon Rhodes, looking forward to bringing more NFL football information to you in the coming weeks. Until then, have a good one.